Hey y'all, it's Nim or Nimacree if you're feeling professional, and welcome to the YouTube video. Now today, we're going to be talking about Torghast, Tower of the Damned. So here's the thing. Before we get into the post, I do want to mention I stream on Twitch Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday and Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's get started. This is a post by Kyvax, a community manager for World of Warcraft. We agree that one of the best things about Torghast is that you can play at your own pace, without feeling rushed. We certainly don't want to make Torghast into a fast-paced, timed game mode. We have instead added torments, which are designed to provide some additional texture for players at high levels, and to solve problems that arise when extremely difficult content meets our often cooldown-based class design. Here's what torments should do. Imagine a perfectly efficient Torghast group. They're willing to do whatever it takes to climb the tower, at the highest difficulty they can manage. That means waiting for all cooldowns on every pull, unless there's some reason not to do so. That is our problem. It's not fun to play, but it's the right way to play if you want to win. Torments should apply just enough pressure that this group can still kill every single creature on the floor, which takes a while since these enemies have lots of HP, while still being careful, using crowd control and taking a few seconds to rest or strategize between pulls. And even then, maybe sometimes waiting just a little longer for a cooldown before engaging. If that is the most efficient way to play Torghast, then we've hit our mark exactly. If that perfectly efficient group has to skip big portions of the floor because torment debuffs are getting out of hand, we have a problem. Alright, so before we continue on with what torment should do, here's the thing. One of the best things about playing at your own pace is being able to play at your own pace. Don't slow us down. Don't speed us up. Don't push us or rush us or drag us or pull us. Let us play at our own pace. After all, you agree. One of the best things about Torghast is that you can play at your own pace, right? That's you agree. That's not me. That's a community manager. Now, torments, right? Torments. So, little debuffs and things that can be seen. Stacking damage increase, stacking damage decrease, a few other effects. They're not important. Here's the thing. I don't think they should be in the game, because they don't do anything but force people to play the way that Blizzard wants you to play. What if, and go with me here, I'm gonna try something. What if you just played the game and that was it? So what if it takes 10 hours to do a floor? If you've got a group that's willing to do 10 hours in Torghast, doesn't that help out your monthly active user time? I don't know, maybe. The other thing that I want to mention about torments is that while you're in alpha and beta, you're developing the game. Developing the game takes time, energy, resources, not enough gas. You know, not enough Vespene gas. StarCraft meme, insert here, .exe, whatever. The time that you're taking to spend getting torments right and getting us to play the way you think we should can be spent designing spec abilities, class abilities, other things that can be used in Torghast. Because I've seen people, videos and things, and people saying like elemental shamans are broken. You can always have hero or earth guardian, or demon hunters are having a great time, warriors are having a great time. Specs that have multiple, or classes that have multiple specs, like a druid, having objectively a less enjoyable time. So that's something here. But let's look at they say that as we go down here, if a perfectly efficient group has to skip big portions of the floor because torment debuffs are getting too out of hand, we have a problem. Well, it's pretty simple. Any torment debuff outside of an individual fight mechanic is out of hand. Meaning, don't try to push us, pull us, drag us, move us forward. Let us play the game at our own pace. We already have timed content. Right now, it's in the form of Horrific Visions and Mythic Plus. We don't need other timed content. And I do want to add, there's a segment of players, right, and I'm probably part of it, that if you put a timer on something, I'm going to feel constrained to do my best, regardless, to always try to be as most optimal as ever, especially if I'm playing with pugs. With guildies, you know, hey, maybe we're just chilling, maybe we're just doing whatever, it's fine, but that timer reinforces the go, 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 go mentality that a lot of players don't really like. Now you could be like, Nim, what if we separate it out? What if we have a casual mode right? For me, dirty scrub casual. And what if for the hardcore? The hardcore of the hardcore of the hardcore of the hardest core. They have all the torments. Why would you waste energy trying to fix a problem that you created when removing the problem solves both things? Because you can play. You don't have to pick up anima powers. You could always choose an intentionally bad build. The thing with roguelites mechanics, as it were, and I've played a little bit of Binding of Isaac. I'm still working on trying to beat Hush. Is sometimes you get really powerful runs. Sometimes you get really not powerful runs. So let the players play at their own pace. Let them enjoy the abilities. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Here's what torments should do. And Shouldville is a wonderful place. Traffic is great in Shouldville. The food is reasonably priced. Why? Shouldville. We should all live here. Make Torghast into a fast-paced, time-constrained venture that feels too similar to existing timed features like Mythic Keystone Dungeons, Horrific Visions, or Island Expeditions. Prevent you from taking a break when you need one. Intimidate casual players from playing Torghast altogether. Alright, so with your Torment, with your stacking debuffs or stacking problems, you do that. Now you may be like, Nim. It's not actually, they don't actually fail. If they play well, they can get around it. Like we saw a video where Ravage, there was a physical debuff damage taken, they left it for an hour, and then they fought one of the strongest physically damaged elites, and the guy played well. You are correct. The guy did play well, and he beat it. He did. Thing is, everybody plays at a different level. Why not, as a thought, not have torments that could possibly cause problems? Some players are weaker, some players are stronger. I know myself, I've been all the way from super noob status all the way to high-end Mythic Raider. So I've ran the gamut. Prevent you from taking a break when you need one. Well, if there's a stacking debuff, and as you leave, the stacking debuff applies to every player, then you, one player, have potentially caused problems for 4 other players. I don't know why I started stuttering like the William Shatner-esque thing, but it's kind of obvious to me, where it's like, oh, I can take a break whenever I want. Oh yeah, I got 4 other players that are waiting on me. That's why raid teams are important. That's why they're like, hey, show up on time, because you have 19 other people that are waiting on you. Intimidate casual players from playing Torghast altogether. Now, that's not something Blizzard can fix. That's more a community problem. That's more a community perception problem. So the idea is, if a community perceives something to be overpowered, they will say, oh, it's overpowered, it's overpowered, it's overpowered, it's overpowered. People will think that, oh, that's the noob spec, that's the spec, that the flavor of the month, try hard, other weird gaming insults. Don't worry about them. But if it's perceived to be powerful, then people will play it. Now, some players who are very good at the class or spec will make it very powerful, and there might be an argument for it to be considered overpowered. Overpowered. But in the vast majority of cases, with flavor of the months and things like that, they're not overpowered. They have good ability interaction along with some item interaction, and it creates a synergy that, when exploited correctly, is awesome. That's why there's so many random procs, to avoid having these huge spikes. Like, oh my god, why is that one mage just destroying the meters, and our other mage is like, fireball, frostbolt. You know, why are they doing that? So I think this will intimidate casual players regardless, because again, it's timer. There's gonna be the go, play the best. These are the best. If you're not bringing the meta, then why are you doing it? Well, what if you don't play the meta? What if, due to patch balances, you don't play the meta? Should we just re-roll? Well, depending on the friendliness of alt systems, that might not be possible. And let's go with, what if you, as a player, want to play the game as a class? I like playing as a paladin, right? That's the thing. I enjoy playing as a paladin. Holy, whatever, I'm getting better at it. I like ret, and I like prop. Someone's like, well, you know, paladins are the worst ever. Well, there goes my fun. There goes my fun. So, here's the thing. How can testers tune us? Help us tune it. Playtest Torghast and let us know how it feels. We appreciate all feedback and the most valuable feedback for this feature will come from the experience in Torghast, rather than discussions about time-based difficulty that aren't informed by in-game experience. Hey, listen, Blizzard, I know those are shots directly at me. I get it. I'm there. I know they're not directly at me, whatever. But if you would give me access to Shadowlands Alpha, I would absolutely stream it and get the opinions of people who play and other things. But I'm probably not a big enough creator yet to do that. We're working on it, though. We are working on it. If something feels bad, let us know why. Did you feel rushed when you didn't want to? Was the pressure because of actual game difficulty, or was it simply the presence of the torment itself? Were you unable to defeat a level because of torments, even though you were playing at a normal pace? Did you want to take a break mid-run but felt like you couldn't? Did you feel like torments are appropriate but should be introduced at a higher level than they currently are? 12. Alternately, did a particular torment feel underwhelming? Do you still feel like you can wait 10 minutes between every single pool without the threat of being overwhelmed? Okay, so let's answer those right here. Did you feel rushed when you feel you didn't want to? Well, that's going to be subjective. That's going to be up to the individual person. Now, obviously, as a game can't be catered to the individual experience. It's not a bespoke experience. But if one group of players didn't feel rushed and another group of players feels rushed, if you remove the thing that makes people feel rushed, both players are happy. Now, was it because of the actual game difficulty or the presence of the torment itself? I'm going to lean in there and say it's probably the torment itself is what makes it feel rushed, because you want to keep those stacks as low as possible. Because you, person watching this, probably like, oh, I want to be a good tank. I don't want to stress my healer. Oh, I want to be a good DPS. I don't want to stress my healer and my tank. Oh, I want to be a good healer. I want to make sure everybody stays alive. And I don't want to have to mythically spam, so if there's something extra gets pulled or a pat, we're not wiping and having to start over. Some people are like that. Maybe some people are like, I don't care. And if you're one of those people, congratulations. Were you unable to defeat a level because of torments, even though you're playing at a normal pace? Normal pace needs to be defined a little bit better. But let's say you're killing, you're not waiting a long time. You're not waiting for cooldowns, essentially. I'm sure that most people will be able to do that. But again, this is a feelings argument, because this game is based on perception as well as cooldowns and actual things going on. Did you want to take a break mid-run but felt like you couldn't? Absolutely. It's going to be something with torments. Again, we have a stacking debuff. If I'm the healer, right, and I take a break, what happens? Or let's say we're doing a group of all DPS, and I still, me not being there, hampers them. Do you feel like torments are appropriate but should be introduced at a higher level than they currently are? I mean, you could do that, or you could just remove the torment system altogether, right? You could just not waste time, energy, and resources on this. You could have a torment only mode, and do that, but that takes time, money, energy, resources, other things that could be better spent on designing class abilities, new zones, player interaction, ability interaction, anything, as opposed to making a system and then having to fix the system. This is what happened with Azerite. You guys got married to this Azerite system. You're like, oh, it's gotta work. It's gotta be the thing. And then it was broken. And then it was broken again. And then it was broken again. And finally, with Essences and 8.3, you're like, all right, we're done. Can't fix it. Some people probably really liked Azerite. I've never met them. Alternately, did a particular torment feel underwhelming? Do you still feel like you wait 10 minutes between every single pull without threat of being overwhelmed? I want to meet these people. Who are these people? That example is a straw man. I want to meet these people who literally will wait 10 minutes between every pull on every floor. Right? Because Torghast, and the footage I've seen, works a lot like Diablo 3 and Binding of Isaac and other roguelites and things like that. Is that eventually you get so powerful you can just steamroll down and be like, oh, get over here. And you just start tearing through enemies. So I want to meet these people that after they reach a sufficient level of power, we'll say, and you can set sufficient wherever you want, they still wait for Bloodlust or Heroism or Time Warp or the Hunter Heroism every pull. I want to meet those people. Especially because with cooldown reductions, you can have a Heroism build. There are several different torments in the current alpha. Some affect spawning and environment, others affect your character directly, some increase over time, others remain at a fixed difficulty. How do they feel in comparison to another? Does a particular torment feel more punishing or unfun than others? Well, so here's the thing. How would they feel in comparison to one another? Again, that's a subjective measurement. Some people may be like, oh, this is no problem. I got this. Like, for example, we use the affix of overflowing, right? I was a paladin healer when overflowing was a thing. At a certain key level, I never had to worry about overflowing. I just didn't. Even with the big critical spike healing of holy shock and fusion light, I didn't have to worry about it. Because there was so much damage that it didn't matter. Now, does a particular torment feel more punishing or unfun than others? That, again, is going to depend on the spec mechanics, right? So, for example, your priest has 2 healing specs. Maybe Holy deals with one a little better than Discipline. Maybe Discipline is a little easier to operate because you get better anima powers that have better ability interaction. That's a thought. We've seen some emotional response to this change, which we take to mean that you care about Torghast being fun. We do too. Please keep up the productive discussions, and we'll keep listening. Okay, so now that we've gone through all that, and I've given my spiel, my take, my everything, I want to say this. I like the fact that they are doing increased transparency and communication with the player base. Ultimately, Blizzard, if you look at me, and look at me right now, if anybody from Blizzard is listening, remove the torments, work on spec abilities, so specialization abilities, and work on ability interaction within a class. We want to make sure all the classes are fun to play, that there aren't these dead time moments where you're like, okay, well, I would play something. Basically, you don't want to end up fishing for procs. Also, as a personal favor to me, snapshotting. Let's consider it. Let's consider bringing it back. But Nim, won't it break the game? And? What's wrong with that? Well, what if these people bring 20 arcane, or do the thing they did back in Warlord's Draenor, 19 arcane mages and a Blood Death Knight, and they killed one boss in 20 seconds. Okay, so you're telling me. Sorry, I keep hitting my chair because I'm emphasis. But so you're telling me you got 19 arcane mages optimally geared, playing at extremely high levels, and you killed a current mythic boss in 20 seconds. How long did that take? How much time was invested into that? Being able to break the game requires a certain level of skill unless you just raw stat boost it or do some crazy ability interaction. Which means that if people are playing the game, that's more people playing your game, it's more subs staying active, that's creating a habit out of playing the game, and the more people that are in the game, Blizzard, more chances you have to make more money. So, this has been a long discussion on Torghast, Tower of the Damned. It's important to me because of the fact that this is going to be one of the big expansion features like Island Expeditions or Azerite Armor were in the previous expansion, and before that, the Class Hall campaigns were a big thing. So, tell me what you think about Torghast so far. Do you like the idea? Do you think it's going to be okay? Do you agree with me, Torments? Do you think maybe, you're blown out of proportion? It's possible. I have been known to engage in hyperbole from time to time. Before we go, I do want to thank you for watching the video, and of course, onto our patron list. I'd like to thank our patrons Roxanne and Deeker. Support me on Patreon at www.patreon.com/Nimicry to have your name added to the list. And we'll see you next time.